she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast, didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat off track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We are hating because you aren't shining like it's neon, rock like it's a neon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shoot, shoot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shoot, shoot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shoot, shoot. Shooting stars. Shooting stars. Shooting stars. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. shadow. I don't wanna waste what's left.
in the sky, gazing far into
Audio check. Audio check.
Welcome ladies and gentlemen, we're here for round 6 of the GT4 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform here at Motive Racing. I'm delighted to say we're at the Hungaroring, one of the more exciting tracks on ACC, and looking like we're in for an absolute treat here in some very sodden wet conditions. I'm sure it's going to be the utmost of challenges for these drivers out on track tonight. One thing of note, important thing to note tonight is that the Lazy Camel and Xander Flander are going to be teaming up on the same rig tonight. It's going to be the Lazy Camel taking the plaudits for the work that Xander Flander does, but he will be taking over in the second stint, so that's one thing I want to point out straight away here in this qualifying session. So we might be seeing the Lazy Camel making a splendid comeback, or who knows, maybe he has a bit more talent than Xander Flander around this track, and possibly could be showing him up a little bit tonight, but who knows. We know that Xander Flander will be driving the second stint for that Lazy Camel tonight, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But we've got 16 other drivers, 17 altogether out on track here tonight. Couple of reserves here and there. We've got Lightblade in, also Evan. I think Evan wants to try and become a full-time driver in some of the championships. I'm not sure which ones he's in, but we've got Lightblade obviously has driven in the Ginetta the last couple of weeks here at Motive. We know the Ginetta seems to struggle a little bit in the wet conditions. We saw in the practice a little while ago. Well, we were watching it for about an hour just now, but we saw that the pace just isn't really there in these wet conditions. The Ginetta is a car that should be really strong around a track like this, but so far hasn't really lit up. We'll see whether or not Lightblade's been putting the sandbags in, and maybe he's been doing some longer runs, putting the fuel up to its maximum, so hasn't really been showing his true pace. But I'd hope that that's the case for him, because at this point he's a little way off of where I'm sure Lightblade would want to be. He's a man who's used to being up the sharp end, but we'll have to see how that develops anyway. We got Lazy Camel also in the Ginetta. Cheese Monkey, the reigning champion of the GT4 division, still yet to leave the pits at the moment, but he did a decent job at Suzuka in the wet, managed to claw his way back up into second after not the best of starts to the race. So we'll be keeping an eye on Cheese Monkey. Freeman's a man who we know always goes well in these conditions, but we're hearing he's feeling a little bit under the weather tonight. He let us know in the staff chat earlier on he might not be on to fulfill his coordinator duties tonight, but he duly did turn out to do so, so big up to him for that. And hopefully he's feeling a little bit better at this point in the day, and hopefully you'll be able to see a strong performance from this man here, one of our admins, our GT4 league coordinator as well, and he's up there in the championship fight with Cheese Monkey in what's set to be a great little battle between these guys. Don't count out Marty Road Racing either. He's going to be there or thereabouts in most of these races, as is Lightblade. Team Run DJC are going to be coming for Cheese Monkey's title this season, you can be sure of that one. But no lap's been set just at this point in the qualifying session. Pete Bibb is still the oh, hold on, what has happened here? Why has my chat audio been what on earth is going on here? What on earth is happening with PlayStation tonight? Honestly, this is ridiculous. Apologies for this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to quickly jump back in my party that I was in. The drivers whilst they're trying to focus on their racing, but yeah, we're back in the party there once again. Apologies for that. But yeah, very strange there. Just got booted out of my party for absolutely no reason whatsoever. But we're back in it right now, so that should hopefully be the end of that. But yeah, lap time's still coming in. Still haven't been put in just yet. We see King Queen getting a little bit out of shape there, getting all over the grass as he's trying to set a fast time here. You got Lightblade just leaving the pits. Snooky's just joined the session, so we've got 18 drivers out on the grid tonight. We need 2 more for a full grid. Hopefully we can scramble the reserves together and get that full grid and get 20 cars out on the track tonight. But not 100% sure what the situation with that is at the moment. I've been more focused on the stream, haven't really been dipping my oar into any of the into the reserve driver spots, so I don't know if the other guys are sorting that out. But yeah, at this point, SMT Maroon's currently the top guy in the session. It's a little way off for the fastest time that we saw being set by Quideo in the practice. Quideo did a 2:03.3. Maroon's currently just dipping into the 2:03s ever so slightly. You've got his teammate Zaloba, who's 0.3 adrift on a low 2:04 as he gets out of shape there into the wall. Quideo has done his first time of this qualifying session. It's a 2:04.5, so he's into 3rd place. Kodalungu 4th in the AMG. Looks as though Freeman's gone into 6th. Jonjig up there very high in the practice session a few moments ago in P5 at the moment in this qualifying session. Jonjig's a man we know goes well in the wet conditions. Did take pole position at Suzuka a couple of rounds ago in the wet, but unfortunately for him did have a bit of a moment on the first lap, had a spin out of the hairpin which dropped him down to the back of the pack, and he had to really play catch up from there. Jonjig will be hoping he can get a strong qualifying and an even stronger start to this race if possible. Wins has done a time good enough for 8th place. Those 8, Maroons all over, Quideo, Kodalungu, Marty, Jonjig, Freeman and Wins are the only drivers to have set a lap time so far in this session. Everybody else still yet to put a time on the board. So as I said, 18 cars out on the track, 10 still yet to do the times, 8 have already done their lap times, as we just see the Lazy Camel there going into 8th place for the time being. But obviously this round 6 of the GT4s here at Motive, and it's been an interesting season so far. Cheese Monkey, obviously the reigning champion, has made a solid start to his title defence. Well, he made a very, very strong start really, didn't he? Because he obviously took the first 2 rounds of the season. He absolutely flew out of the blocks. Let's jump on with him actually, Cheese Monkey. There he is in the number 1 Ginetta. He's coming in towards the final few corners of this lap. Had a good result at Suzuka. Didn't seem to be on the pace at first. Seemed to be struggling in relation to the team run DJC drivers in the BMWs, like Freeman and Marty, for example. But Cheese Monkey did eventually claw his way back up into 2nd place in that race after a shaky start. Really seemed to find confidence in the wet towards the back end of the race. So we'll see whether or not he can try and take that form that he found towards the end of that race into this one and maybe get himself up high in the qualifying session. As here comes the champ into the final corner, this right-hander. Let's see if he can get a good exit out onto this start-finish straight and carry that speed all the way to the line. His benchmark at the moment that he's aiming at is a 2:03, dead set by SMT Maroon up towards the line. Cheese Monkey comes, and he goes P5 with that one. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We're moments away from the start of round 6 for the GT4 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 here at Motive Racing. We've got Djphil starting this one on pole position, having done a great lap in the qualifying session. This man's got past form in these wet conditions and once again stepped up to the plate. Cordeiro will be starting this one alongside him on the front row. We're going to have Zeynalov and Djphil-green. What a great qualifying from him in 4th place. Lightblade 5th in that Janetta, then Freeman, Pete Bibb, Cheese Monkey in 8th. Evan IRL with Marty Road Racing alongside him on the 5th row, Codalungu and Nilsson, then King Quinn, the Lazy Camel, Morphe, Snooky and Windsor at the back, and we've got drive-throughs for Pete and Snooky already here as we're getting towards turn 1. It looks as though Djphil got a slightly sleepy start there as he's now got Cordeiro already around him around the outside. Zeynalov looking to the middle here, he's going to try and drive around him as well. Djphil-green trying to get around the outside but getting a little bit swamped there on the outside as Freeman gets through up into 4th place there. We've seen a bit of a contact there behind them as who is involved in that one? Marty. I don't know if Marty was involved. I think Lightblade was involved because he's dropped way down the field there. Lightblade now down towards the back of the pack. Is he in last place even in this race? Could possibly be. Djphil got a very, very poor start though and lost out as a result as Djphil-green there very, very wide indeed. No, it wasn't Djphil-green, I do apologise. It was actually Mercedes there that went extremely wide coming out of turn 3. But at the moment it's Cordeiro leading. Cordeiro, after making that rocket ship start, is already up into the lead of the race ahead of Djphil. Djphil has got himself into 2nd place. Freeman there in 3rd as we see Cheese Monkey ever so wide there. Oh my goodness me, getting well off onto the runoff. And he's got Djphil-green just behind him here with the Lazy Camel queuing up in that little battle there. Cordeiro leading out the front has already got a second of a gap here over Djphil. Zeynalov there in 4th ahead of Cheese Monkey, who went, Cheese Monkey's now way further back. He's dropped up behind Marty and Codalungu here, so Cheese Monkey's got it all to do in this race as Codalungu's on the back of Marty Road Racing, battling over 7th and 8th places at the moment. But Cordeio's still out the front, still doing what he's doing the business, having made that absolutely brilliant start, getting straight ahead of Djphil. Freeman's got Zeynalov queuing up behind him here. Zeynalov looking to the inside. He's also trying to defend from Djphil-green, should I say. Marty, Codalungu, Morphe there in 8th. We've got Cheese Monkey there down in 9th place. Not at the start for him. Nilsson 10th. King Quinn, the Lazy Camel, Evan IRL, there's Pete Bibb, Windsor, Snooky and Lightblade having a horrible show of a start to race into 17th place here in this race already. Cordeiro coming out of the final corner to complete the first lap and he's got the lead and he's got a comfortable cushion here over Djphil at this point. Zeynalova's still all over the back of Freeman. Well, actually no, he's lost out to Djphil-green there. Djphil-green's into 4th and he's now onto the back of Freeman, so Zeynalov there losing out a little bit. Marty on the back of Zeynalov now. Look, but he's also got Codalungu very, very close in contention here. Cheese Monkey is ahead of Morphe and Nilsson, so he's gained a place into 8th position there as we can now see that is Nilsson there having a little look to the inside of Morphe coming into turn 1, can't get the move done and somebody's extremely wide coming through that corner there. Somebody got well out of shape there coming on the exit of turn 1. But there's lots and lots going on at the moment here. Difficult to keep up with everything. But somebody there is getting all over the place. That is no, it's not King Quinn. King Quinn's gone off though. King Quinn has dropped down to the back of the field here. I don't know what's happened to King Quinn, but he's now well off of them there. He's pretty much dropped. I think that's got to be a long way back for sure. We'll see once the timing board updates. The nightmare about this game on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 is that you just do not know where anyone is because the timing board takes about 5 years to update. But at the moment Codalungu's still on the back of Marty Road Racing, 7/10 between those two. Cordeiro's keeping the gap just over a second to Djphil, but Djphil keeping him on his toes at the moment. Freeman there in 3rd, Djphil-green 4th, then Marty Road Racing, Codalungu. Oh, he's had a big step oversteer there, and Cheese Monkey's going to move up into 6th place. Codalungu there, so close to getting damage. He almost went spearing into the barriers. He did make a little knock with the wall there, but it wasn't too bad as far as contacts with the wall go, and he's able to continue on his way without too much damage there. But Codalungu, a big up snap oversteer. Oh, he's lost it again. Oh, he's gone again. Codalungu into the wall, and this time he's going to have some light damage on the front of that car as he's lost out there. Morphe's over Evan all coming through. There's Nilsson and the Lazy Camel as well. Evans lost out to Morphe, but as we see there, he's dropped way down the field, so that is going gone horribly wrong for Kodolungu. He's now down in 12th place, and he's got Windsor and Kinquin and Lightblade all in hot pursuit here coming down the hill. Not the situation at all that Kodolungu would have needed there, having been up there reasonably in the thick of it near the beginning of this race. Cordeo and Djphil have completed their second lap of the race and separated by 7/10 of a second right now as they're coming up towards turn 1. Freeman there in 3rd place, completing the final podium spot at the moment. Duke Martin giving Freeman some heavy pressure in the opening laps of this race. Really good driving so far from Duke Martin. Marty there in 5th with Cheese Monkey on the back of him. There's a bit of a gap back to him, running in 7th place. Evan Nilsson, the Lazy Camel, has got Morphy looking to his inside into turn 1. Morphy going very late on the brakes. He's going to miss his braking point completely there, and he goes, wow, he missed his braking point so much he almost went into the wall, but he just about keeps it out of the barriers there. But the Lazy Camel gets himself up into, well, he already had P10, but he keeps P10 as a result of Morphy going deep into turn 1. Cordeo still leads by 8/10 ahead of John Jig at the moment. Freeman there running in 3rd, 2.6 off at the back of them. Duke Martin's dropped off of Freeman a little bit so far on this lap. Marty there 1.6 back in 5th. Cheese Monkey 6th. Zaloba coming up towards turn 4 there. He's running in 7th place right now. A bit of a gap back to Evan, who's lost out to Nilsson there. So hold on a second. Yeah, Nilsson, no. Okay, so Evan, yeah, just behind Nilsson at the moment. Nilsson there running in 8th place. Evan 9th. So Evan, wow, bold choice there. Is that a KTM? It is a KTM, isn't it? My goodness, fair play to him. Oh, as Nilsson goes straight on over the chicane, is Evan going to be able to pick up the pieces here? No, he doesn't. Nilsson gets away scot-free with that one. He'd have got a track limits warning for that one though, so he won't be able to do that one too many more times again. It'll be a limited number of uses, that little trick will. But Cordeo and John Jig still separated by 6/10 right now out the front. They've got opening up a bit of a lead to Freeman, who's 3 seconds behind. Freeman still not able to shake off the challenge of Duke Martin at the moment. These two pretty much tied at the hip here, 7/10 apart. Marty dropping off of these two ever so slightly. Cheese Monkey falling off for the leaders as this race goes on. Zaloba has had a bit of a troublesome race so far, down in 7th place. Nilsson is just keeping Evan at arm's length at the moment, but these two not separated by much at all. The Lazy Camel there sat in that final top 10 spot. Morphy trying to defend from Kodolungu. Lightblade's picked off Windsor and Kinquin up into 13th place as we have had a retirement from the race. I'd love to figure out who that is at some point. If you've retired from the race, please let us know in the comments, because we are now we're now a man down compared to what we were before. Cordeo though still leads by half a second over John Jig at the moment, and Freeman's still got Duke Martin on the back of him. Also Nilsson's still on the back of Zaloba. We've got Morphy very close to the back of Kodolungu, and Lightblade in hot pursuit of these two with Kinquin all over the back of Windsor here coming up towards turn 1. Is Kinquin going to go for a late dive into turn 1? He thinks about it, but oh, Windsor's gone deep. Windsor's gone very deep. Oh my goodness, he's completely missed the braking point there. That's going to get Kinquin into position, and Windsor there is going to have damage on the car as well. I'm sure about that. That's the kind of disaster there for him. Snooky having an absolute horror show of a race down in P16. He must have had to come in for impromptu repairs on that Mercedes, because he is not where he needs to be at this point at all. Zaloba's also into the pits for what I assume is going to be impromptu repairs as well, so that has gone horribly wrong there. In fact, he's retired from the race, so he's out of this one. So that's SMT Maroon and Zaloba both out of this race in what is still the relatively early stages of this one. Kinquin and Cod's still pretty close. Oh, we've had another retirement there. Windsor's out of the race. He's called it a day. Windsor is retired, so we're down to 14 drivers here in Hungary for round 6 of the GT4s. We knew it would be tough. We knew a lot of drivers would find it difficult, but yeah, right now we are quite a way short of what we started. We've started with 18 cars. We're now down to 14 in the very early stages of this one. But at the moment, Cordeo has a lead of just over 1.3 here to John Jig, so he's keeping that gap around what it should be at this point. He's doing a pretty good job here, is Cordeo, but John Jig's still on the back of him. Look at this, about just over a second as they cross the line, just under a second even. So John Jig gained a little bit of time on that previous lap. Freeman there 3 seconds behind in 3rd place. Duke Martin in 4th there. He is just coming over the line. He's got 1.6 further back to Marty. Cheese Monkey falling off for the leaders. The Ginetta seems to not have the pace of the rest of them at the moment. The Ginetta seems to be a little bit slower around Hungary than I think it's the wet conditions, because it's such a light car. It tends to struggle a little bit. Hello, I'm just commentating in a minute, mate. Is everything all right? Hello, I'm commentating. What's up?
Hi.
Hi. Right, I'm commentating. I'll talk to you in a bit. Nilsson still on the back of Evan right now, half a second between these two in 7th and 8th places. They're about 5 seconds clear of the Lazy Camel, who's got Lightblade pretty close. Lightblade's got ahead of the Lazy Camel, and it looks like Kodalungu's also got ahead of him there. So Lazy Camel losing out 2 spaces in a couple of corners. He's now down to 11th place from 9th. So that's not gone well for the Lazy Camel. Cordeo's gap to Djphil-green still 9/10 of a second. Nilsson's still on the back of Evan. Evan's got ahead of Nilsson now up into 7th place. So Evan's done a good job there, as we've lost another driver and we're down to 13 cars after 10 minutes of this race. We are losing cars left, right and centre here as Nilsson cuts the chicane and goes straight over it, and Evan still holds on to that P7 as a result of that. Cordero still leads by just under a second to Djphil-green. Freeman there in 3rd with Duke Martin running in 4th place at the moment. Marty road racing in 5th. There's Cheese Monkey in the background there in 6th place, coming through your shot right there. Evan there still sat in 7th place. Nilsson within half a second of Evan at the previous checkpoint. I think it's a little bit more than that now. Lightblade in 5th, I'm sorry, 9th, 5 seconds off of the back of Nilsson. You've got Kodalungu still sticking to the back of Lightblade, but Lightblade's now starting to pull that gap to these cars behind him. Kodalungu, the Lazy Camel, King Quinn in the background, and Morphy, your last runner here in this race so far. Not been the race for him at all, has it? His friends, obviously the SMT teammates of Zeynalov and Maroon, both retired from the race, but well, Maroon didn't even start. He retired before the end of the qualifying, but Zeynalov retired in the early stages as well. Morphy's still going, still hoping to pick up some good points here in this race, I'm sure. JR says in the comments here we should impose a points penalty for drivers who don't finish the race. That would be quite a sensible way of doing it, actually. And yeah, after a certain number of DNFs, I think there should be maybe an exclusion from the championship, or at least some kind of encouragement not to actually do it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something we should look into for next season. But Cordeo's still leading at the moment here by just over a second ahead of Djphil-green. Freeman there in 3rd place, 3 seconds off of the back of those guys. You've got Duke Martin still pretty close on him, 9/10 between those two at this point. Duke Martin's just been nipping away at Freeman. He's been keeping himself in that range where he can go for it. He's just been keeping Freeman on his toes. But these two now starting to get into a bit of a rhythm and maybe matching the pace of the two leaders, Cordero and Djphil-green, at this point. Marty keeping the gap to the leaders around the same. He's still about 6-7 seconds off of the two leaders. Cheese Monkey dropping off ever so slightly as this race goes on. You got Evan just over 10 seconds behind Cheese Monkey. He's managed to gap Nilsson a little bit since making a move on him a couple of laps ago. So now Evan's starting to find some pace here in that KTM. Oh no, he's lost it! Oh no! Oh gosh! Commentator's curse, he's just gone wide into the barriers there, and he's onto the runoff, and he's going to lose out that position there. Nilsson moves up into 7th place. Evan loses out to Lightblade as well, and Evan's going to drop back into the clutches of Kodalungu. In fact, Kodalungu's got him. So Kodalungu up into 9th place, and Evan there has fallen foul to the commentator's curse here at Motive Racing. The Lazy Camel and King Quinn in the background just coming through your shot. But Evan IRL, it's gone horribly wrong there for this man, and he's got to regroup and go again. Let's stop watching him. So we've got Duke Martin on the back of Freeman at the moment, coming in towards turn 1. 6/10 between these two, coming onto the brakes. Duke Martin still up, can't find a way around Freeman at this point. 3.5 seconds back to this man, Marty Road Racing, who's got an internal 1.77 gap back to Cheese Monkey. Nilsson there in 7th place, Lightblade in 8th. Kodalungu in the background of your shot, just coming over the line to complete the 6th lap there in 9th place. You've got Evan 10th, and then the Lazy Camel, who's got just about under a second here to King Quinn. King Quinn in that slipstream coming down the start finish straight though. Is he going to be close enough to make a move coming in towards turn 1? King Quinn's having a look, and the Lazy Camel, I think, is going to let him past. Is he coming in towards turn 1? I think he is. Yes, he does. Lazy Camel not fighting King Quinn too hard there, and King Quinn moves himself up into 11th place. Cordero though still leads this race by 1.4 seconds ahead of Djphil-green at the moment. Cordero's led since the beginning of this one. Djphil-green obviously was your pole man, but Cordero got a much better bite at the start. I think that maybe Djphil-green was being a little bit cautious at the start, didn't want to jump it. Obviously being on pole position, you can understand that. He's got everything to lose at that point. So Cordero got the much better start and was about a country mile ahead coming in towards turn 1. But since then, Djphil-green's really just kept him honest, and these two have been kind of matching each other, trading fastest laps. They've been the two to beat. They've been gradually extending that gap to Freeman and Djphil-green, who have been running still pretty close over this first stint. Only 8 tenths, so now 6 tenths between these two. Djphil-green really driving a very strong race. We've seen this from Djphil-green over the course of this season. He's wet driving is absolutely fantastic. He's a solid driver in the dry, but in the wet he's up there fighting for the podiums every time. So it's great to see the improvements that he's made over the course of his sim racing career here at Motive so far. We got Marty running in 5th place at the moment. He's got just over a second back to Cheese Monkey, but these two starting to now fall off of the leaders a little bit. They're about, I don't know, about 8 seconds off of the leaders now. In fact, no more than that, possibly about 10 seconds off of the leaders. But Cheese Monkey will be hoping that he can at least get some good points from this round. We know that Cheese Monkey can be a bit of a slow starter to races, and I say a slow starter, I mean compared to his finishes. He tends to save it a little bit, maybe runs a lower fuel setting. I'm not actually very unaware of how to drive on ACC. I drove one race in the GT4s, but I'm not aware of like whether or not you can run rich fuel or medium fuel or low fuel. I pretty much just do commentating on this game. I did drive about 2 or 3 races in the GT4s here at Motive like a few seasons ago, but in terms of my knowledge of how you run the cars, I don't really know a whole lot about it. But Cheese Monkey always seems to go quicker at the end than he does at the start, which begs me to think that maybe there is a setting where you can change your fuel mode or something, but I don't actually know that for sure. But yeah, he always seems to finish the races much quicker. So he's on the back of Marty right now. He seems to be just on that preservation setting, whatever that might be, at this point in the race. So I'm sure we'll be seeing Cheese Monkey coming alive in the later stages of this one. But we've still got Quideo out the front for just under 2 seconds to John Jig at this point. Quideo's opened up a bit of a gap to John Jig. John Jig's been on him since the beginning, and really over the last few minutes he's been sort of pressuring him, but Quideo's now broken free of that restraint. You've got Freeman in the background there, who's currently just put a bit of a gap between himself and Djphil-green. Quideo seems to have really got the hammer down here because he's pulling away from everybody. John Jig's pulling away from Freeman, but yeah, he's also losing time to Quideo. So this is the man currently with the well and truly with the plan at the moment, as he's coming towards the end of lap 8. So Quideo once again starring in the wet conditions. We've seen this many times before. He is the GT3 champion here at Motive Racing, champion of the GT3 division on a Sunday, one of the quickest guys in this GT4 league as well. Could be a dark horse for this title if we continue to get more wet races this season for sure. But he's keeping John Jig at bay at the moment. However, John Jig did gain 3 tenths on him during that final sector, so don't count him out at this point. This man Freeman in the background there, just under 5 seconds behind John Jig at this point. He's got a couple of seconds back to Djphil-green, so Freeman's kind of got the better of Djphil-green in that little scuffle for the time being. But don't count out Djphil-green, as we know he's got the pace in the wet. Marty 3 seconds off at the back of Djphil-green has managed to gap Cheese Monkey a little bit over the course of that last lap. So that's the top 6. These are really the front runners in this race. A big gap back to Nilsson running in 7th, with Lightblade now closing up onto the back of him. Lightblade from by the back of the grid. It's been a difficult race for him after the first lap. He was down in P17 on the first lap. We did actually have 17 cars at the start, believe it or not. We now have 13, but we did have 17, and Lightblade's had to really fight his way through the field, that is for sure. Codlinga there running in the 9th place. You got Evan down in P10 after that little mistake that we saw a couple of laps ago. He did actually get himself up into P7 briefly ahead of Nilsson, but made a little mistake, kind of set him back a little bit. King Quinn there running in 11th place, 4 seconds off at the back of Evan. The Lazy Camel in 12th place right now, and Morphy seems to be having a nightmare of an evening. He's just got out of shape there coming out the exit of turn 1 and seems to be going nowhere fast at this point. Just want to say a big thank you to 11 people watching on the stream right now here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you guys enjoy what you see, then please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com. If you're watching on Facebook, check out the YouTube stream, come over to the Discord server, sign up to the championships, become a part of what you see out on the track in front of you, exclusive to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. But Quideo is still out in front, still doing the business. 1.7 is his gap at the moment over John Jig. Further 5 seconds back to Freeman, who's still doing a good job right now in that final podium spot. Just under 2 seconds back to this man Djphil-green, who's been keeping him on his toes since the beginning of this one. And Cheese Monkey's really closed the gap to Marty as well, just over 1 second between these two now. So that Looks like it's race on between those two. Nilsson and Lightblade still not very much. Oh, Nilsson's made a mistake, and Lightblade's going to swoop around the outside into the penultimate corner. Nilsson there got a little bit out of shape onto the curb on the exit, forced him onto the runoff, had to slow down a bit, and now Lightblade up into P7, so that is the position change there between those two, and Nilsson, very unfortunate for him, will have to dust himself off and go again. As Cheese Monkey within 7/10 of Marty, but the Ginetta just hasn't got the straight line speed to get past the BMW down the start finish straight. Quadeo still leads by 1.5 ahead of Jonjig, and these two continue to pull away from Freeman, and Duke Martin now getting himself back onto the rear end of Freeman a little bit. Only 1.3 seconds between these two at this point here, as we're just about approaching a third of the way into this race. 5 minutes away from the pit window. Pit window will run from minutes 25 to 35. No matter what side of the race you look at that from, it's the same minutes in terms of the race. So in 5 minutes you will have a 10-minute pit window, which will take us up until 25 minutes out from the end. And right now these two will be waiting for, well, I'm sure Duke Martin's probably waiting for that to come as soon as he can, to try and get the jump on Freeman, do the opposite of him. He's been on his rear end lap after lap after lap, but Freeman's been driving very sensibly, and they look quite evenly matched, to be fair, at this point. I wouldn't want to say that Duke Martin's being held up, so to speak, but it's just that they are pretty even in terms of pace. We've got Pete Bibb saying in the comments there, sorry Andy, gutted, I thought I was starting on the right but it put me on the left, not sure how that happened, and pressed the wrong button in the pits. That's alright mate, no, I mean, I don't know what happened there, but that's obviously a shame there. I don't know, did it, is that why it gave you a penalty for the start? That must be why it gave you a penalty for the start, because I obviously saw there were a couple of drivers who did pick up penalties in the beginning, but that's a real shame there for Pete. Obviously your race got cut short there, mate. Not what you would have wanted at all, but we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday night for the touring cars on Project Cars 2. That should be a good one. I'll be on the track for that one. I will be saving the races and putting up some highlights in for the next morning. So, well, there won't be highlights, I'll actually be uploading the full race the next morning, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that, ladies and gentlemen. There won't be a live stream, but there will be a post-race commentary. Not the same kind of commentary that you see on these. Obviously this is done live and uninterrupted. That will be a kind of like a summary more than a live commentary. It will be some, I mean, it will be like in a live setting. I will try and pretend that I'm commentating on it live, but there won't be the same excitement, the same enthusiasm as a live commentary for sure. But right now Quadeo leading this race by 1.7 seconds over Jonjig. Pete saying he'll be there. Good stuff, mate, looking forward to it. But Quadeo keeping Jonjig at bay at the moment, just keeping him at arm's length, just over 2 seconds between those two at the moment. A further 6 seconds back to Freeman running in third place. He's got about 1.3 back to Duke Martin at this point, so Freeman's just now starting to keep Duke Martin out of that jabbing range. You've got Marty 4 seconds back in 5th place. Cheese Monkey still keeping Marty on his toes at this point. Lightblade running in 7th place, having got the move done on Nilsson a couple of laps ago, is now 2.5 seconds clear of Nilsson, but he's 14 seconds behind the leaders. And when I say the leaders, I mean the top 6. The top 6 covered by, well, they're covered by about 15 seconds. So I'd say, yeah, I'd call them the leaders. But Lightblade's got a lot of work to do if he wants to close in on those guys, that is for sure. Pit window a couple of minutes from opening now, so we're coming towards the end of the first stint, as we like to call it. And a lot of the drivers will decide to come in as soon as they possibly can. Some will try and cut the race in half, so they'll try and pit exactly midway through, so that will give them the opportunity to do the same amount of time on the second set of tyres that they did on the first set. Also, it means that you can run exactly half a tank each way. Some drivers will try and come in as soon as possible to get the undercut on whoever they're battling with, and some will try and do the opposite and get the overcut. It's just entirely up to the drivers how they do it. It's purely optional. It's based on preference, really. It's whatever situation you're in. But I imagine for guys like Quadeo, he'd probably try and come in about midway through, exactly halfway, cut the race in half, and do the same stint that he's done in the first stint. For guys like Jonjig, maybe you might want to roll the dice, do the undercut, try and pit early, try and come out ahead of Quadeo if he can. You got also Duke Martin in a similar position to that, but I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. It could go any way. The drivers are totally up to them as to how they play it. They have freedom of choice in everything that they do in this situation, and it's going to be fascinating to see how they exercise that. But Cheese Monkey running within 2.5 seconds off Marty at the moment. Codlungu only a second and a half behind Nilsson coming up towards turn 2, but he's really close that gap. It's a lot less than a second and a half now as they're coming in towards the corner, but to the moment Nilsson's keeping Codlungu at bay. These two 3.8 ahead of Evan, who's starting to rule them in a little bit here on lap 12 of this race, but at the moment Nilsson's just got enough here coming up the hill to hold on ahead of Codlungu, but Cod's really coming for him in this battle for 8th place, that is for sure. These two 4 seconds off of the back of Lightblade, who made the move on him a few laps ago. Lightblade's matching the leaders, but he's too far back, I feel. He's lost out too much time in the first part of this race. He's well clear of these two who are battling, but I don't think he's got much of a chance of getting a top 5 here in this one. But these two, 8th and 9th places, Nilsson and Codlungu, still going at it on lap 12 of the race coming into the chicane. They're still bumper to bumper at the moment, but Codlungu's still not able to find a way through ahead of Nilsson for the time being. Gradeo is still running in the lead of the race, just over a second. This is gap 2 Jonjig. Pit window will be opening very shortly, but I think all the leaders will have come round by the time it's open, so none of the top 6 are going to be able to come in. But I think the first driver who's going to be able to pit would be Lightblade, as Lightblade's just coming in towards the final few corners. Oh, the background here, oh, Nilsson have crashed. I just saw in the background there of the shot that we had Lightblade in, and Lightblade just you just saw him coming around the corner as these two came together. Oh no, and Evan's just lost it as well, and Evan has done a full 360 and gained 2 positions, and Kingquin comes through to gain 3 places there. Wow. Oh, disaster there for Nilsson and Codlungu. They came together and oh no, that's gone horribly wrong there for those two. As Nilsson waits for Codlungu, I think he's took responsibility for that one entirely. They're both going to have a bit of damage here. Pit window, luckily for them, is open now. Evan though drove through that like a superhero. He literally did a full 360 and then still overtook both of them, but he unfortunately did get overtaken by Kingquin at the same time. But Evan, wow, that looks seriously cool there from Evan IRL. Kingquin moves up a position and gains 3 places there in that little debacle. Codlungu is getting to the pits. Nilsson staying out, so presumably his damage isn't too bad on that Mercedes. But Kingquin into the pits, Evan in the pits, Codlungu also in the pits, and everybody else staying out for the time being as the pit windows just opened here at Hungary for the round 6 of the GT4s. But Gradeo leads at the front, and Jonjig, what's happened to Jonjig? Oh no, as Jonjig had a moment. Oh no, that is going to be a real shame for Jonjig there, as he was in second place in this race. Obviously qualified on pole in the qualifying session, but he's now down in 6th place. So I don't know what's happened to Jonjig there, but he's clearly had a moment of some sort. Gradeo now has an 8-second lead over Freeman. Freeman into P2, and Jonjig there has really suffered quite a bit. I don't know what's happened there with Jonjig, but that's pretty much going to have put a nail in his chances of finishing on the podium here, as Gradeo is still leading this race, and he's got quite a comfortable gap now at the front over Freeman. Duke Martin 2.5 seconds off the back of Freeman. Freeman started to pull out a bit of a gap over the last few laps here. Marty running in 4th. He's got 1.7 back to Cheese Monkey at this point, so he's got that buffer, he's got that cushion, and can he try and see that one home all the way to the flag? Jonjig there is into the pits, so he's got damage on the rear of the car. You can see there, that's definitely been through the wars. Maybe the front's also taken a bit of a beating, but whatever the case here, he's coming into the pits during this pit window, so he's going to have to get that serviced and changed up and get some improvements done on that, which is a real shame there for him, because Jonjig was in the fight for the lead. But Gradeo's coming through to put a lap on Kingquin there, so Kingquin there not making it too hard for him. As we see there, Evans just made his pit stop, so he looks like he's off the jack and he's just taking some fuel. Jonjig though still in the pits. Evan and Codlungu all still in their pit boxes at the moment. Nilsson's coming into the pits, as well as the Lazy Campbell, so those two may come in and getting their pit stops done and out of the way. Top 6 all still yet to come in. The Lightblade's closing the gap to Marty and Cheese Monkey a little bit. Well, Cheese Monkey did have about a 14-second gap to Lightblade until a couple of laps ago, so now Lightblade's really bringing that gap down and bringing himself into potential contention for this one, in terms of maybe a 4th place finish here in this race. But there's obviously still a very long way to go in this race, but he's about 15 seconds off of Marty. He's about just over 10 seconds behind Cheese Monkey, so it's not out of the question for Lightblade at this point. Duke Martin is falling off at the back of Freeman. Freeman's got about 3.5 seconds back to him. Credeo though is faster than anybody out there right now and has currently got almost a 10-second gap over Freeman here on lap 14 of the race. Nilsson, the Lazy Camel, Evans still in the pits, as is Kodalungu. Are these guys even going to go? I don't think they are. I think they've retired. I can't see them going. Well, Kingquin is in the pits now. Lazy Camel's off and going. I think Nilsson will be in just a second. So yes, he's now off the jacks and off and away. So I think that Evan and Kodalungu have both retired from the race here. I think we're down to 10 runners here in this one. Evan in the comments saying that his pit crew put him on dry tyres. What is going on with this ACC game, man? So ACC have just put Evan on the dry tyres. JR saying, come on Marty. Marty running in 4th place right now, could be in with a shout of a podium spot here, as he's really bringing that gap down to Duke Martin. Over these last few laps, Marty's been definitely getting the work done. Duke Martin's going to be possibly looking in his mirrors pretty shortly. They're not really doing much good in these conditions, but Marty's definitely bringing that gap down. Cheese Monkey in the background there, 3.5 seconds off the back of Marty. Lightblade is 11 seconds off of Cheese Monkey and continuing to lap a little bit quicker than these guys in 3rd, 4th and 5th. So don't count Lightblade out of a podium spot at this point. I know it's a tall task for him. He's currently 20 seconds off of a podium spot at this point, but I would not rule him out. Rule him out at your peril, in my opinion, at this point. The Lazy Camel says, let's go me, in the comments. Absolutely, Lazy Camel. Lazy Camel obviously not at the wheel at the moment. The man who's at the wheel at this point in the race is Xander Flander. Xander Flander is a regular racer in this GT4 series here at Motive, but has decided to team up with the Lazy Camel for tonight, so he's driving the final stint. Big up Xander Flander. Hopefully you can do the goods here. The Lazy Camel getting behind him himself in the comments. Obviously he's getting behind his mate, the Xander Flander, so it will be interesting to see how they get on as a team tonight. But still the top 6 yet to pit at the moment. Everybody else, barring Kingquin, has been into the pits and made the stop. Kingquin has definitely been into the pits as well, so maybe he didn't put any fuel in the car. There is a mandatory refueling here at Motive. You must put a little bit of fuel in the car. It doesn't matter how much, you must put a bit of fuel in the car. So maybe Kingquin didn't do that, and that's why he hasn't ticked off the mandatory pit. But Freeman and Duke Martin both in. Also Marty likewise. Is Cheese Monkey going to follow them in? Yes he is. The Lightblade is also coming in. So everybody except Quideo has now come in into the pits. Kingquin, if he wants to tick off that little number 1 there, will need to come in as well, but I wonder whether or not he's going to bother now, because obviously he's been in the pits, so he'll feel like he's done what he needed to do. He'll feel like he's kind of done his time in the pits, you know what I mean? He'll feel like he's gone and got that shirt, but unfortunately, because he didn't put any fuel in the car, it doesn't actually count as having served his pit stop, so he will need to come again. Otherwise he will face the wrath of the stewards as a result. But is he going to come in? This is his last chance to do so, and it looks as though he's going to be staying out, so he's not going to come in and serve that pit stop, which means that he will pick up a sizable hefty penalty from the stewards. In fact, no, he's got 1 more lap to do it, so let's hold our horses. He might come in and serve that pit stop, as Freeman's the first out of the pits of the guys who just came in. So Freeman, Duke Martin, Marty, Cheese Monkey and Lightblade all emerging from the pits. Lightblade a little bit behind those guys due to the fact that he was a little bit behind when he came into the pits, but Lightblade is off and on his way once again. Cordeo, the race leader, still yet to come in and make that pit stop. He's got to come in this lap. He can't wait any longer, because if he leaves it any longer, he will face a disqualification from the race for having not completed the mandatory pit stop. He's got to come in this time. Cordeo hopefully will be pulling off to the side here at the end of this lap, and yes he does. He's into the box, and well, not into the box just yet, but he's into the pit lane, which will be en route to his box at some point. Evan there in the comments mentioning the best overtake ever. Yeah, 100% mate, I love that one. The fact you gain 2 places whilst doing a 360, I've got to take my hat off to that. I've never seen anything quite like it. Not in sim racing, not in real racing, not anywhere. I've never seen anything like it, mate. That was absolutely spectacular from yourself. But Lazy Camel still running 8th place at the moment, just ahead of Nilsson coming through the final corner. 7/10 of a second separating these two as they're coming out onto the start finish straight now for the 16th time here in the race. and Nilsson's going to have a chance here. 0.3 of a second between these two coming down the start finish. Is he going to be able to pick up a toe and go for a move in towards turn 1? He's going to pull out that slipstream now. Is he going to go for a late dive up the inside? I think he is, you know. Lazy Camel gives him the space on the inside, doesn't fight that one too hard. Is he going to try and get a cut back? No, he's not. Nilsson gets that done up into P8, and a very routine move indeed there from the Mercedes on the Ginetta. With the straight line speed that the AMG's got over the Ginetta, I'm not surprised at all to see that one done in the routine fashion it has been done. But look at that, it looks like Nilsson's very wide coming through turn 2, and Lazy Camel swoops back up the inside there. Thank you very much, takes P8 bake straight back from him there. So these two trading positions, with the Lazy Camel holding on to P8 for the time being. Marty is on the back of Freeman here. The battle for second place has really opened up, as Freeman must have maybe changed tyres, whereas Marty might not have done. I'm just thinking maybe Marty didn't change tyres. He's going to try and go to the end on one set of wet tyres. That's my thinking behind why he's so close to them. But yeah, he's jumped Duke Martin. He was about 4 or 5 seconds behind him before the pit window. JR will be pretty chuffed about that. It's obviously made it a double team run DJC podium at this point. Cheese Monkey on the back of these guys though. He's really brought himself into contention over this pit window. Cheese Monkey, as we usually see, tends to get a very strong pit window, and then the final part of the race he gets the absolute maximum out of that Ginetta. So maybe we'll be seeing Cheese Monkey possibly getting on the podium in this race. I wouldn't count it out at all, as King Quinn is currently in the midst of serving that pit lane, that pit stop, so he will get that ticked off as long as he puts fuel in, and he'll be allowed to be classified for this race. Kodalungu didn't move from the pits as soon as he pulled in, so he will not be getting classified in this race. The Lazy Camel says that Xander Flanders now in the Ginetta 51, but we were running about the same lap times. Well, Xander Flander, I mean, he's doing it. Let's see, I mean, obviously Lazy Camel, Xander Flander, but yeah, Xander Flanders currently got Nilsson still on the back of him right now, so I'm going to call him Lazy Camel, Xander Flander. It's difficult for me to get out of the habit, but the Lazy Xander coming into turn 1, and they're keeping Nilsson behind them at the moment. But yeah, currently 24 minutes left in this race. It's going to be an interesting battle for sure between those two. Xander Flander did say he hasn't really practiced for this one at all, so it's going to be probably not the usual sort of pace that we expect from him. He had some good pace at Suzuka in the wet, so we know he's got some pace. But yeah, he said he hasn't practiced really much around Hungary, so we're not going to be expected him to be at his usual standard. But the Lazy Camel obviously says that they're about the same pace around here, so that's still some reasonable pace there for him. We got Pete Bibb in the comments there saying, just watch my replay, the radar was telling me to go right, but I started on the left, so I got confused. I'm really new to the game, can anyone explain how that can happen? Yeah, I don't know, you've just got to kind of, like, I would say in that situation, you've just got to go with what the radar says. Just go with what the radar says next time, mate. That's the safe option. Starting formation lap on the right, but when the lights go green I need it to be on the left. I'm really not sure, to be fair. I just do what the game tells me to do, and it usually works. But I mean, I've only played this game like sort of 3 or 4 times, but at the moment it's Freeman still sat in second place. He's got 0.3 back to Marty Road Racing. Duke Martin there, just under a second behind Marty at this point. Cheese Monkey has gone him ever so wide there. Look at that, he's gone really onto the runoff, but gets it back onto the track there. Definitely would have lost him a bit of time there. Auto Butcher in the comments says time. 100% mate, 100%. There's actually a song called Hans Zimmer called Time. Absolute banger. Well, I wouldn't call it a banger, but it's a very nice mellow tune anyway. But Freeman's still running it in second place at the moment. 0.3 of a second is his gap right now over Marty Road Racing, and Duke Martin started to drop off at these two ever so slightly at this point. But we got people in the comments there saying follow the radar. I think I panicked because of last week. Yeah, it can give you mixed signals, to say the least. Sometimes you feel like it's telling you to do one thing, but it's actually telling you to do the opposite, and then you kind of like get confused, and it's like, well, which way do I go? What does it want me to do? I don't understand. But yeah, definitely some mixed messages there for sure. But yeah, Freeman at the moment still holding on for second place in this race, out of the final corner, keeping Marty just about at bay here. Half a second between them. Duke Martin running in that slipstream here. Auto Butcher says time for Cheese Monkey to shine. Absolutely there. I think somebody pressed enter a bit too early. But Cheese Monkey's starting to drop off of these guys a little bit. I'm surprised at this, to be fair, Butcher, because yeah, he was really seemed like he gained a bit of time over the pit window, and Cheese Monkey usually finishes the races very strongly, but yeah, right now he's just dropped off a little bit, so he's got work to do here if he wants to bring himself back into this fight for the podium spots. Gradeo leading the race though, and looks like he's got this one pretty much signed and sealed. It's going to be between these four, Freeman, Marty, Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey for this second place spot though. Two of them are going to finish on the podium, two of them are not. Who's it going to be on the champagne rostrum, and who's going to miss out on the champagne come the end of this race? At the moment Freeman's got that position, but Marty, Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey are all going to be coming for it towards the end of this race. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's commented on the stream tonight, to Auto Butcher, Pete Bibb, to obviously the Lazy Camel as well, to Evan, to JR, all of you guys who have commented on the stream tonight, big shout out to you. Also to Katie as well, and Dan Mai, you guys have kept me company over the course of this one. Please drop a like if you haven't already, guys, as it really helps us out an enormous amount. Subscribe to the channel also. If you're watching on Facebook, watch the YouTube stream. Go to youtube.com obviously and type in on your YouTube search bar Motive Racing, and you can check it out. Subscribe to the channel. You can be notified whenever we're live if you hit the bell. You can join us at www.motiveracing.com as well. We're exclusive to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. We've got leagues on ACC, Project Cars 2 and F1, so if you fancy any of that, then definitely come along and see what we've got to offer. We've got live streams and commentary on ACC and F1, and we've got highlights on Project Cars 2 as well. So yeah, plenty to get excited about here at Motive. But Freeman at the moment still keeping Marty at bay. Duke Martin's managed to close in a little bit on Marty over the course of this lap as they're coming out of the final corner now to complete their 19th lap of the race. Here they come down the start finish straight as the Aston Martin got the legs here on the BMW. We'll see as they come towards the end of the straight. For the time being it looks as though Marty's just about got that one in hand. Cheese Monkey there running in 5th place at the moment. Freeman's just about got out of that cushion. He's just about opened up that cushion here over Marty Road Racing at this point. Lazy Camel says, great commentary as usual, Andy. Great to be racing and watching and listening. Thank you very much, mate. That's very kind of you. Good to see that we can give you a little bit of excitement and entertainment here on the Motive Racing channel tonight. Also good that you get to stretch your legs and watch your co-driver doing a good job at the moment. Let's have a look and see how he's getting on. Xander has dropped off a little bit off the back of Nilsson at this point. He's 4.5 seconds behind him, so he's not had the best of a couple of laps, but for sure still a long way to go in this one. Still time for him to bring himself back into this one. Duke Martin really doing well, picking up the pace the last few races. He has been, and what I've noticed is that in the wet conditions he seems to be really strong. He's been finding a lot of talent in the wet. You know, he's reasonably good in the tri, but in the wet he excels. Although he did make a bit of a mistake coming out of that chicane, so let's stop commentators cursing him anymore. Freeman still running in 2nd place at the moment. It's got a bit of a gap back to Marty, 2 seconds between those two at this point. Duke Martin's got about 1.7 back to Cheese Monkey, but that gap has come down during that middle sector, so Cheese Monkey is now appearing on the back of him a little bit. And Cheese Monkey, I said this before and I'll say it again, always finishes the race strong, and I think he's going to be a real contender for these podium spots come the closing laps of this race. For sure, do not count out Cheese Monkey in this race. Rule him out at your peril, I would say. But they're coming through the final few corners of this lap. Duke Martin's still all over the back of Marty. Cheese Monkey's joining this battle. These three kind of falling off of the back of Freeman ever so slightly over the course of this lap, and Freeman now looking like he's pretty safe and secure in that 2nd spot. These three though going at it. Marty's got Duke Martin hounding and hassling him coming down the start finish straight. Duke Martin a little bit too far back, I think, this time to go for the move into turn 1. He's definitely closer though, and he's going to be putting Marty even under some extreme pressure in the later part of this race. Cheese Monkey can't really do a whole lot down the start finish straight, but he's got the pace in the middle part of the lap, so through the chicanes, the medium to slower corners, Cheese Monkey's going to be on these guys for sure, and can definitely try and force them into a mistake if possible. But yeah, at the moment he's just biding his time. The Lazy Camel saying, we have a heavy car, I put too much fuel in it, but Xander's picking up the pace, hoping for a P7. Well, at the moment there's just over 5 seconds between Nilsson and the Lazy Camel, so Xander's got some work to do. Obviously Xander driving for the Lazy Camel Link tonight. But Cordeo's still got a gap here of 18 seconds over Freeman. Cordeo's been the dominant force over the course of this race. Freeman looks like he's shaking off the challenge of these three guys, Marty, Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey, who are still going at it. Cheese Monkey cuts the inside of the chicane there. And Duke Martin will be watching that in the mirrors and he'll be thinking, come on mate. But Cheese Monkey gets away with it this time. But the question is, how many track limit warnings has he notched up? If he's racking up too many warnings, then he'll eventually get a drive-through penalty, or failing that, a time penalty. So he needs to be careful and make sure that he doesn't pick up any penalties in this race. If he does, then it will really set him back an enormous amount. So he needs to be careful. He needs to start behaving himself with those track limits and not cut those chicanes, because cutting corners doesn't get you anywhere. But Marty Road Racing still sat in that final podium spot right now. He's a couple of seconds behind Freeman. He's got just under 7/10 back to Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey, who are still running in hot pursuit at the moment, coming in towards the final corner. 15 minutes left to go here at the Hungaroring here in the GT4's Automotive for round 6 of the season, for season 3 here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. Credeo looks like he's going to be absolutely running away with this race when he's just coming up on some traffic here. That would be Lightblade, I think, just up ahead of him. Lightblade's had a torrid race tonight. It's not gone at all to plan for him in any way. I thought at one point like he might be able to close in on the leaders and maybe get a 4th place, but no, it's just not ruined the race for him, has it? The pit window went an absolute disaster for him, and it's just not been what we've come to expect from Lightblade, if I'm honest. You know, Monday night on the Porsche Cup, he's extremely quick in the Porsche Cup cars. He took the fight to Will Freeman and ended up taking the win in the feature race. But yeah, Lightblade will be definitely looking to bounce back stronger from this one. Not the night for him at all. We've still got Freeman running a couple of seconds ahead of Marty Road Racing. Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey still running very, very close, but still no changes in the order at the moment. JR in the comments says, come on lads, bring the podium spots home. Currently Freeman and Marty doing just that, but Marty has got a couple of cars behind him who are going to be looking to try and pick up those positions as he cuts the inside of the chicane there. Marty would have got a track limits warning for that for sure. He definitely took advantages there coming through the chicane, but for the time being seems like he gets away with it a little bit. Pete Bibb in the comments says, hi Duke Martin, doing brilliant again in the wet. He really is, Pete. He's absolutely flying in these conditions and could be on for a podium spot. If he can force Marty into a mistake, then maybe Duke might be able to get a top 3 here. He's having a look everywhere, trying to distract Marty in the mirrors if he can, but for the time being holding position in that 4th place with Cheese Monkey hot in his mirrors and looking to try and feast on any scraps that he possibly can at this point in the race. Cordeo opening up the lead, still almost 20 seconds is his gap at the moment over Freeman. Freeman's gap to Marty's come down. These 3 guys here, Freeman, Marty, Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey have closed the gap to Freeman a little bit. The gap's come down, it's now just under 2 seconds. I don't know whether or not he might have made a bit of a mistake there as Freeman, but he'll be seeing these 3 looming larger in his mirrors. Cheese Monkey's dropped a little bit off of the back of Marty and Duke Martin over the course of this lap. As Auto Butcher there says, great channel, great bunch of drivers, and the wet conditions make for lively racing, and they really do. The wet conditions always set apart the men from the boys, and at the moment you're seeing the best drivers still in there with a shout. You're seeing drivers like Duke Martin really rise to the occasion when it's a little bit slippery out there, and you know, ultimately you get the best out of drivers in these types of conditions. But Duke Martin's still looking everywhere around. Marty at the moment still can't find a way around him. They're coming out onto this little straight up the hill towards turn 4. Marty got a very shaky run there, but I don't think Duke Martin's in a position to make the move. It's not really an overtaking spot up the hill into turn 4, and he's still tucking in behind. Cheese Monkey's dropped off at them a little bit. Marty very wide onto the curb. Duke Martin is going to try and get the cut back. Is he out of this next corner? He might go for it, you know. No, Marty parks his car in all the right places and not allowing any way around at the time being. Has a little look into the chicane, but Marty covers that one off for now and is just holding firm, keeping himself calm and collected as Cheese Monkey looks to the inside of Duke Martin. Duke Martin had to cut the chicane a little bit there and doesn't lose the position to Cheese Monkey, thankfully for him. Cheese Monkey though was looking to try and capitalise on that, but Duke Martin weathering that storm for the time being. Credeo still leads out the front, ahead of, well, about 20 seconds now ahead of Freeman. Marty a second and a half behind Freeman, but Duke, Martin and Cheese Monkey are coming for that podium spot, and Freeman needs to watch out, because if he drops it at all, if he makes any mistakes, then these three are all going to come past him and he's going to drop down to 5th. So his race could go from pretty strong at this point to an absolute disaster in the blink of an eye. But these three still going at it as they're coming into the final corner for what's the 23rd time in the race for them. Duke Martin's pretty much closer than he's ever been at this point, I would say. This could be a massive opportunity for him. He gets a beautiful run coming out of the final corner again. I think maybe turn 1 is going to come just in time here for Marty Road Racing. Duke Martin very, very close as they come onto the brakes. Once again, Marty's just far enough ahead to prevent Duke Martin from being close enough to throw one down the inside. He might have to defend here coming into turn 2 though. Duke Martin is all over his rear bumper there as they come into the brakes now. Is Marty going to hold on to that? Yes, he does. Cuts across him a little bit, just covers that line, that inside line, and is not allowing any way around him at the moment. But Duke Martin's looking for every little crack that he possibly can. He's looking for an opportunity here to get himself onto the podium. He wants that top 3 badly, but Marty is too alert and alive to anything that Duke Martin's throwing at him at the moment. And whilst this goes on, these two are actually pulling away from Cheese Monkey in 5th. Cheese Monkey starting to drop off the pace a little bit there in P5. Freeman starting to gap these three a little bit now in 2nd place, whilst Marty and Duke Martin battle it out, but they're still keeping up the pace pretty strong at this point, despite it being in the midst of a really titanic battle here for 3rd place. Freeman's bringing the gap down to Cordeo. Cordeo's starting to maybe take it easy a little bit. He's just put a lap there on Lightblade, but Lightblade seems to be more than a match for his pace, because Cordeo was about a couple of seconds behind Lightblade about 4 or 5 laps ago. So Lightblade is clearly still on some reasonable pace here, so he's not just let Cordero breeze past him. He's clearly still got some talent. Obviously we know Lightblade's a quick driver, but tonight really hasn't gone to plan for him. He's been very unlucky over the course of tonight. Dropped down to P17 on the opening lap when we actually had 17 cars in the race. We're now down to 11 here, well 10 if you count the fact that Evan's not actually racing. But so yeah, we started with 17, we're down to 10. We had 18 qualified, we lost 1 before the start. So technically we've lost 8 drivers over the course of tonight, which is quite shocking. But then again, you've got to give the praise to the to the 10 drivers even that are still out on track right now, because they've persevered, they've kept going. And Duke Martin's into 3rd place. Oh, what's happened to Marty? Marty's down to 5th. He's dropped behind Cheese Monkey here. Duke Martin onto the podium spots. Look at this. Great stuff here for Duke Martin. He's now into 3rd place here in this race, the number 6. He's a couple of seconds behind Freeman. Could he even be in for a P2 here in this race? He might potentially be able to get himself up into the top 2 here in this one, but at the moment he's into that 3rd place. He's going to have Cheese Monkey pressuring him all the way to the flag though, I'm sure at that. Marty down to 5th place now. Must have made a mistake coming to that final sector there. He's lost out 2 places, not just to Duke Martin but to Cheese Monkey as well. And he's got it all to do in the final 8 minutes of this race. But Duke Martin onto the podium. Freeman running in 2nd place is actually keeping the gap to Cordeo, so he's now matching the pace of the leader. Cordeo maybe it's just let off the gas a little bit over these last few laps, just wanting to bring it home and take the points, take the victory. As we want to comment there in the YouTube comment section right now, Pete Rib says go Duke, obviously getting his support behind this man here. He's always trying to defend from Cheese Monkey though. Cheese Monkey's trying to go around outside of Duke Martin here. Can he make it all the way around him? I think he has. Cheese Monkey managed to pull the move there on Duke Martin. Oh my goodness, it's going back and forth there between these 3 guys, as we saw Duke Martin get ahead of Marty, and now Marty's trying to get back ahead of Duke Martin as Duke Martin defends to the inside coming down the hill. Can Marty go for a late braking move on the inside? No, he can't. Backs out of that one. But Cheese Monkey now into 3rd place. Cheese Monkey's gained 2 places in the space of a lap, but he's now into 3rd place. Incredible stuff here from Cheese Monkey. He was running a P5 and it's looked like he's been out of sorts on the back of these guys. Hasn't really shown that he's got that fire in him to go for those places until now, but he's gained 2 places in the space of a lap. Maybe he was just waiting for the chance to pick him off, and now he's into 3rd place, and Duke Martin's got it all to do here to get himself back onto the podium spot. Down the start finish straight they come. Marty's dropped off at these two a little bit in that final sector there. Duke Martin though looking to the outside. The Ginetta's got no straight line speed, and the Aston's going to try and go around the outside coming into turn 1. In the end, thinks better of that one. He's going to go for the cutback if he can. There's a space on the inside there for Duke Martin to maybe get the cutback. They're going to be side by side all the way down to turn 2. Can Cheese Monkey keep himself on the inside now, break him, or is Duke Martin going to swoop all the way around the outside here onto the brakes? They come into turn 2. He goes very deep into the corner, but I think he might have that move done. Duke Martin's still there on the outside. Cheese Monkey trying to hold it around the outside, but he can't do it. And Duke Martin back up into the podium spots here. Great racing from these guys. Cheese Monkey's got another runner coming up the hill, but he's got no straight line speed, but he still manages to get around him there. Cheese Monkey squeezes around the outside of turn 4 and back up into 3rd place. This is going everywhere between these two right now. And now Marty's on the back of Duke Martin here for 4th place. Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey giving us a great show here on the Motive channel with 6 minutes left to go in this race. We've got probably about 4 more laps left to go as Cheese Monkey cuts the inside of the chicane, and we'll definitely have got another track limits warning for that. But Duke Martin looked like he had a podium spot there. It looked like he had it once again presented to him, but then Cheese Monkey has gone and taken it back with a great move around the outside coming up towards turn 4. The Ginetta incredibly slow in a straight line, I've got to say, but the exit that he got coming out of turn 3 managed to keep him going all the way up towards turn 4 up the hill, despite the fact that the Ginetta is so shocking in the straight line. He managed to get such a good exit out of the corner, got such good traction in these wet conditions that it kept his speed all the way up towards the corner. So Cheese Monkey did so well to get that move done, but Duke Martin's still going to be coming for him, and if he can keep himself on the back of him coming out of this final corner, he'll have a chance down the straight, because we know how bad the Ginetta is down this start finish straight. Here we go, it's going to be round 2 between these two once again, as Duke Martin's going to go for that cutback here. If he can get that cutback coming down the start finish straight, he's going to have a great chance of taking the position once again. He had to maybe get out the throttle a little bit there as he was stuck right behind Cheese Monkey, but he's now moved to the inside. Duke Martin side by side to the inside coming down towards turn 1. Cheese Monkey tucks back into the slipstream. He's going to try and go for a late move on the inside. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. Side by side, Duke Martin leaves him the space on the inside. They're still side by side around the corner, but Cheese Monkey manages to just nab the position back off of him again. Duke Martin though with a much better run coming down towards turn 2. We've seen before the Aston gets such a good launch down this part of the track. He's going to be on the outside there. Cheese Monkey just holds him on the inside, slides across the curve a little bit. Duke Martin's going to get a good exit here coming out of turn 2 into 3 and all the way up the hill. He's going to have an opportunity here, but I think he got a little bit sideways there, and Cheese Monkey is going to defend the position up the hill. Up towards turn 4 they come. Cheese Monkey is still holding on to P3. How has he managed to keep onto that position? I will never know in that Ginetta, but he is somehow keeping onto that, and Duke Martin and Marty coming for him. John Jig in the background is bringing himself into this action though. Whilst these three battle it out, we've forgotten about John Jig. He was the forgotten man in this race. He's been nowhere. Throughout this entire final stint, John Jig has just disappeared off the radar. He's now only 3 seconds off of a podium spot here in this race. Where has John Jig been? Where has he come from? He's just suddenly on the radar again. This is great stuff. Cheese Monkey, Duke Martin and Marty going at it here for 3rd place. But if they're not careful, John Jig's going to come and take it away from all 3 of them. But Freeman's got a bit of a gap back to these guys now. He's got at least 4 seconds back to him. So it's now going to be between these 4 guys, Cheese Monkey, Duke Martin, Marty and maybe John Jig in with a shout of a podium spot here. Absolutely brilliant stuff here tonight. What a race we have had here on the Motive channel. I'm absolutely delighted to have been able to commentate on tonight's proceedings. It's been nothing short of absolutely brilliant. But Cordeo out the front has got a 20-second gap. He's been in cruise control over the course of this race. He's had nobody in any mood to stop him in this one. He's just been running away with it since the start. Freeman there is running in 2nd place still. Marty looks like he has got ahead of Duke Martin up into 4th. Duke Martin must have made a bit of a mistake there coming through the final sector. He's had out to P5 here in this race. He's got just under 3 seconds back to John Jig there in 6th. Cheese Monkey though, I said before, I say it again, never ruled him out in a final stint, because he is always going to be strong towards the end of races. Always seems to find his feet in the final stint. And regardless of how quick he is in the first stint, sometimes he's fast throughout the whole race and then just completely puts the and then just delivers the knockout blow in the final stint. But sometimes he makes a slow start to the race and then just finds his feet and ends up getting onto the podium. And once again, he's done that absolutely brilliantly here tonight. Cheese Monkey looks set to take a P3 in this one, barring any major catastrophes in the final couple of laps. Marty and Duke Martin are going to be pushing him all the way to the flag, though. We know that for sure. John Jig looks like he's maybe left his charge a day late and $1 short in this race. Cordero still leads by 20 seconds ahead of Freeman. Freeman's pretty much nailed on for that second place. Cheese Monkey's now just got to defend from these two, Marty and Duke Martin, to the flag. Pete Bibb in the comments, absolutely loving the action here on the Motive channel tonight. If you like what you see, guys, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com. You can join the action for free. You can sign up to the Discord server and get involved in the championships. You can beat one of these guys out on track. If you think you can beat these guys, then by all means come along and see what you're made of. But coming down the hill once again, Cheese Monkey, Marty and Duke Martin separated by barely anything, as Cordeo's crossing the line to start his final lap of the race. So now is the time when Marty and Duke have got to go for it. Got to throw everything at Cheese Monkey here if they want to get on the podium. Anything can happen here on this final lap, I know that for sure. Don't count out either of these two from getting on the podium, but Cheese Monkey looks like he might be able to see this out unless Marty can get a good run coming down the start finish straight. We know the BMW is much quicker than the Ginetta coming down the straights. Is he going to have an opportunity here into turn one? I think it's a little bit too far back. Is Cheese Monkey going to have to defend the position here? He might have to defend, you know. Yes, he is going to defend. Marty looking to the outside in towards turn one. Here we go. Side by side into the braking zone now. Cheese Monkey holds that inside line, hugs the curb for good measure there, and keeps onto the position for now. It looks like he got a good run out of turn one, which is crucial. That traction that the Ginetta generates really is its saving grace. But Marty looking to the outside in towards turn two. Duke Martin waiting in the wings. Had to think about going up the inside of Marty there. Thought maybe not. Maybe we'd leave that for later in the lap. But Cheese Monkey still sat in that third spot, and crucially for him, got a lovely run out of turn two, which is hopefully going to keep him in good stead as Marty gets a big sideways action there coming up the hill. And now Duke Martin's going to look to the inside up towards turn four. Is he going to get that done? No, he doesn't. He tucks back in for the time being. Marty holds on for fourth place. They're still on the back of Cheese Monkey right now. The Laser Camel says great battle for the podium. Good to see Duke up there, and we're now happy to finish in top 10, he says. But at the moment, Cheese Monkey still sat in that third spot for the time being, keeping these two at bay just about. John Jig's dropped off of this battle a little bit now, 3.5 seconds adrift there in that sixth spot. Cheese Monkey's got a few corners to go. Cordeo, the race leader, though, is coming in towards the final few corners, and it's going to be an emphatic victory for this man here in the wet conditions tonight. Cordeo has not put a foot wrong. He qualified in, let's not forget, he wasn't on pole. He qualified in second alongside John Jig, but got a perfect start at the beginning. John Jig was a little bit sleepy off the line, and that could have been where Cordeo won this race with John Jig's woes later on in the race. But Cordeo coming out of the final corner, it's going to be another win in the GT4s. Congratulations to Cordeo. He's going to close the gap to Cheese Monkey and Freeman at the top of the standings. What a great win from the GT3 champion tonight in the GT4 class. Congratulations, Cordeo, on a brilliant victory here. Freeman is going to come out of the final corner, and it's going to be a second place finish here for Freeman. He'll be pretty happy with that, I'm sure. Not too bad of a result, and will definitely gain points on Cheese Monkey. Cheese Monkey, though, will hold on for third ahead of Marty by the skin of his teeth. What a great battle. That one went down to the wire there between those two. Marty fourth, Duke Martin fifth. John Jig comes over the line to take a sixth place finish here in this race. Nilsson is going to finish a long way behind in seventh. Lightblade's already finished a lap down in 8th place ahead of the Laser Camel in 9th. King Quinn's coming through the middle sector now, so he will be coming over the line shortly. Nilsson's just coming into the middle sector, into the first chicane, so he'll be a little while yet. King Quinn, though, is coming in towards the final sector at this point. Cordeo, though, what a drive. Didn't put a foot wrong. Freeman managed to pull the gap to the others in the end for that second place. But Cheese Monkey, Marty and Duke Martin, hats off to these boys, because they showed what Motive Racing is all about tonight. They showed that we got some of the best action on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And if you want to get involved, guys, go to www.motiveracing.com. If you've been watching on Facebook, then head over to the YouTube channel, subscribe so you don't have to watch it in 720p anymore. You'll be able to watch it in full 1080p on YouTube in the future. And obviously, to those of you, to the regulars, big thank you to those who commented, as always. David Snook in the comments says, congrats, guys. Absolutely, what a grace there from all of the drivers here. We've had some non-stop action out on track since the beginning. Nilsson's come over the line to just coming out of the final corner. He's going to finish this one in 7th place. Kingquin has just finished in 10th, but Nilsson, the last man to finish the race, here he comes up towards the line to finish this one. Great driving from everybody out on track tonight. Huge congratulations to Cordeo on the win, to Freeman, to Cheese Monkey, Marty and Duke Martin. Those guys left it all out on track tonight in their quest for the podiums, but it didn't quite come off. But big thank you to everybody. Join us next time here on the Motive Racing channel. We will be live on Friday night for the Formula 1 League, the Codemasters Formula 1 game. That'll be at 6:45 PM BST. Join us for that. Also, we'll have highlights from our Project Cars 2 leagues over the weekend coming out usually the next morning after the race, I would imagine. But yeah, definitely keep your eyes and ears peeled out for those. But we will see you in the next one, guys. Have a great evening, and see ya.
Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again. So we can fly again. So we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out